The crisp morning air bit gently at the gathered crowd as the Royal Navy Band played a triumphant march. The docks of Portsmouth, steeped in centuries of naval tradition, had seen many a christening of a ship, but today's ceremony carried an air of regality not felt in decades. At the center of it all, standing poised and radiant in a tailored navy blue coat, was Her Royal Highness, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Princess Kate to the world's breathless tabloids. The ship before her was HMS Valor, a brand-new state-of-the-art aircraft carrier, shimmering in the pale sunlight with all the imposing grandeur of a vessel born for legend. Her gunmetal hull rose like a fortress from the sea, while radar towers pierced the sky like metallic spires. Engineers and officers stood in immaculate formation, their uniforms crisp, their faces glowing with pride. Princess Kate, known as much for her elegance as her ease in public duties, held a specially engraved bottle of single malt Scotch whiskey. A nod to naval superstition. While champagne was traditional, whiskey had found its place in more rugged traditions. This bottle, aged 25 years and drawn from a Highland cask, shimmered amber in the light, ready to be sacrificed for the sake of safe voyages and honorable service. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer's voice crackled across the speakers. Please welcome Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The crowd erupted into applause, cameras clicked like cicadas in midsummer, and a hush followed as Kate approached the prow. Every movement was deliberate, precise. Her hand, wrapped in white gloves, gripped the bottle gently, but with a quiet strength that mirrored the symbolism of the moment. A sailor standing nearby whispered to a fellow crewman, "She's got the grip of a seasoned yachtswoman, that one. Bet it'll be a clean smash." The name ceremony had ancient roots. In olden times, Viking ships were consecrated with blood. Later, with wine or ale. The idea was the same, a gift to the gods of the sea, a bargain for safe passage and victory. Though times had changed, the ritual remained. And today, under the eyes of press and public, the tradition was reborn through royal hands. Kate turned to the assembled crew and guests, the ship towering behind her. "Today, we send forth HMS Valor, not just as a vessel of might, but as a beacon of resilience, unity, and courage," she said, her voice clear as the bell chimes of Westminster. "May her sails be full, her crew ever brave, and her voyages ever noble." A brief pause. The world held its breath. Then came the line, "I name this ship Valor. May God bless her and all who sail in her." With practiced grace, she swung the bottle in a wide arc time seemed to slow. The bottle struck the steel hull with a crystalline crack and exploded in a shower of amber glass and golden droplets. The whiskey splashed like holy water across the nameplate, igniting a cheer from the crew. The scent of oak-aged spirit filled the air, mingling with salt and oil and history. It was a perfect strike, no hesitation, no fumble. The bottle shattered completely, a sign of good luck. Sailors saluted. The ship's horn bellowed in reply, low and thunderous. Behind the scenes, Commander James Alton, the man who would soon helm HMS Valor, allowed himself a grin. "That was the cleanest christening I've seen in 25 years, he murmured to his executive officer. "She's got sea hands, that one." The ceremony continued with formalities, tours, and receptions, but it was that single, glittering moment that newspapers would plaster on their front pages. A photo of Kate midswing, a streak of whiskey midair, and the ship gleaming behind her like a titan newly born. Later that afternoon, the royal party had withdrawn to a private luncheon hosted aboard an adjacent vessel. Journalists packed their notes with metaphor, a strike of grace, the whiskey kiss of blessing, steel and silk entwined. But below the surface of the pageantry, something deeper stirred. Kate sat with Commander Alton and a handful of naval veterans, engaging them not as a royal but as a listener. "I read about your father," one veteran said softly, his command on the HMS Trident. "He was a fine sailor." Kate nodded. "He loved the sea. He used to say that a ship's soul came not from the engines, but from her crew. There was silence for a beat. The commander raised his glass. To Valor's soul, then. May it be forged in service and fellowship. A curious tradition. While many wondered why whiskey had been chosen over the traditional champagne, Kate had an answer ready for the press. It's not about what the bottle holds, she said with a smile. It's about the story it carries. Whiskey is aged through fire and time. It bears the memory of storms, oak, and quiet strength. I thought it suited Valor. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Social media erupted with memes and admiration. Kate the Brave trended worldwide, with maritime historians delighting in the blend of innovation and homage. Even the Royal Navy's official X, formerly Twitter, account chimed in. Whiskey and water, the perfect launch for a modern legend. HMS Valor has been christened by none other than the Princess of Wales. May she carry honor on every tide, behind the steel. But HMS Valor was not just ceremony and steel. Designed over a decade with international collaboration, she housed AI-assisted navigation, next-gen propulsion systems, and the capacity to deploy disaster relief operations alongside combat missions. In an age of uncertainty, she was not just a ship of war, but a ship of peace and presence. And the christening wasn't simply a media moment. For the shipbuilders, many of whom watched with eyes wet from pride, it was the culmination of lifetimes of work. I started on this ship before my son was born, said engineer Sarah Wilcox. Now he's 6. He saw Princess Kate today and asked if Valor could fly. I said, son, in the right hands, maybe she can. The whisper of legends. As twilight descended and the crowds dispersed, a quiet came over the docks. HMS Valor stood like a sentinel against the violet sky, her nameplate still gleaming with whiskey's golden trace. Some say that every ship has a moment, a heartbeat, when it awakens. For Valor, it was not when her engines first roared to life, nor when her keel was laid. It was in the swing of a bottle held by a princess whose ancestors had stood on the cliffs of Normandy, the decks of Dunkirk, and the pages of history. That evening, far out at sea, a fisherman radioed in an unusual sighting, a long shimmer on the horizon, too swift for any known ship. It moved like a ghost, he said, but left behind a wake like a comet. The Royal Navy chalked it up to weather. But the old sailors, the ones who still whispered about sea spirits and steel hearts, smiled knowingly. She's awake now, they said. The sea's got another story to tell. And so began the legend of HMS Valor, christened with whiskey, awakened by grace, and bound for the tide of history. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.